Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. Um, a couple of days now, it's almost there. The rematch between Usyk and Fury, much awaited, much anticipated. I say that, but we haven't had to wait that long, have we? 6 months. I mean, how often do you have a great fight and everyone says, it's got to be a rematch, you have to wait 2 years? Oh, no, I think Turkey Al Sheikh's enormous wads of money that he throws around have made sure that, this was always going to take place again. Plus the fact, of course, there was a rematch clause. Doesn't necessarily mean that rematches go ahead just because there's a rematch clause. But when you're throwing that sort of money around, yeah, it's going to happen, isn't it? So let's do a prediction then, for what it's worth. I won't go into Fury and Usyk's respective records because I'm sure you know most of what I could say. But I do want to just quickly revisit and do an overview of the first fight and the build-up to it, because I think it's, I'd like to compare and contrast the build-ups, maybe speculate on whether what's going to happen in the rematch is going to be anything similar to the first fight. Maybe, maybe not. But so if you think back, the first fight was cancelled due to a very bad cut on Fury's eye. A lot of people, the old conspiracy theorists, came out in force and said it was self-inflicted. Whether it was or not didn't really matter because the fight was postponed, and a lot of people, myself included, had doubts whether it would ever go ahead. In fact, it did, of course. But Fury has since said, look, it was a cut. It affected me, my preparation, my training, because I just, I couldn't spar as much as I wanted to. Then there's the issue of Fury's weight coming in. He lost a lot of weight. He came in, by his standards, pretty thin, pretty light. Then we're talking about the tactics of the first fight, which were involved from the word go. Usyk hunting Fury, walking him down, cutting the ring off, looking to be very, very aggressive and proactive. And Fury, the much bigger man, the almost comical view, I've said this in previous videos, of Fury backing off. And then, of course, also during the fight, we had the showboating nonsense, completely pointless. Don't know why he did it. Probably to try and blag his way through it, maybe, the early rounds. And then we had the result. The result was a split decision. I don't think it should have been a split decision. At the very least, 115, 113 to Usyk for me. I watched that fight several times since. You can easily make a 116, 112 for Usyk, but no way can you. I wouldn't even give Fury a draw. And that's not to say it wasn't competitive. It was competitive. A lot of people have said Usyk won nearly every round. No, he didn't. Fury did win rounds, and he won them early as well. Actually, I don't hold with this idea that Usyk won the first 5 rounds or whatever this narrative is that some people have. I just don't agree. I suppose you could make a case for it, but I personally don't agree with that. I think Fury was in the game early, very much so, and in fact, mid rounds when he had that purple patch where he rattled Usyk with a very good uppercut, I think that I was beginning to think, Fury might have this. Then, of course, the 9th round happened and so on. So, where does that leave us now then? Well, Fury does not have the excuse of the cut. Excuse in inverted commas, because it was a legitimate cut. I'm not saying he was, but he has said, look, I didn't have a cut this time. I was able to spar properly. Weight-wise, he did look heavy a couple of months ago, but now, having seen him when he arrived in Riyadh today, he's always going to be a very, very big man. But, if you go by the face, now I know he's got that big beard on, so it can hide the jowls, as some of us know about jowls, I don't think he's quite as heavy as either he is saying he might be or other people are saying. He looked like he had lost a bit of weight over the last couple of months. Now, people have also said that Usyk is looking bigger. I don't really see that. I would be surprised if Usyk came in anything more than 225. For Fury, I'm thinking, don't know, 278, something like that, around that area. 280 maybe. I think anything above 280 is probably be a mistake. But he needs to be fit, but he needs to also be comfortable. And as we know, if you lose a lot of weight quickly, it can leave you depleted of energy and physical strength, but it can also affect your punch resistance. And I think the 9th round, when he was clipped by Usyk with that left hook and was all over the place, all but knocked out, I still wonder if the weight had a factor in that. Coming in, losing, not so much the weight he came in at, but the way he lost the weight. It's just false economy doing it that way, just losing a shit ton of weight and then just thinking that you're going to, because you look aesthetically better, you are better. No, I didn't. Losing weight quickly, it's the wrong way to do it. If anything, come in a bit overweight. It's just I think I think it's false economy. So I don't think he'll come in as light as heavy as people are saying, Fury. But then I don't think I think that might be a good thing. I don't think he'll come in very, very light. I don't think we'll see a repeat of what happened 6 months ago. I think he'll be sort of in that sort of middle ground, sort of trying to get the balance right this time. Now his skills will be sharper if he's sparred more, we would assume. But then there's the issue of his legs. Some people have said, I know Duke McKenzie makes some very, very good predictions. He's very, very good with the predictions indeed. I often listen to him and think, I wonder if I should have a few quid on what he's just suggested. But he said he thinks Fury's legs are shot and that he expects Usyk to win big, probably by knockout, I think Duke said. Are Fury's legs shot? Well, at the age of, 36 now, they're not going to be what they were. And also the up and down, the yo-yoing of the weight over a period of years takes years off your career without a shadow of doubt. It does leave your legs weak. Fury's always had very, very good recuperative powers, but he didn't. I say he didn't have them. I mean, in the 9th round, Usyk tried to get rid of him, and I know there was a bit of controversy because Fury was given the standing 8 in the corner, but I actually think the ropes did keep him up. And the referee was justified in giving that count. A lot of people say, no, the ref saved him. The ref was in the fix and all this shit. No, it weren't like that. I think that Fury this time round could be stronger. And his recuperative powers have always been good. And let's not forget, after that hellacious 9th round, he still went the distance. He still did 10, 11 and 12 and finished the fight. And in fact, again, it was relatively competitive. I think Usyk clearly won, but it was a split decision and not a unanimous decision, which I think it should have been. Now that brings us to the question of the judging, because a lot of people have said Fury or Frank Warren and Fury are Turki Al-Sheikh's men, and they're gonna want him to win so they can set up the Joshua fight, which is another massive blockbuster fight. And Usyk's just a right royal almighty pain in the arse because he keeps messing up everyone's plans. No, I don't. I can't sit here and say categorically, oh no, it will be scored fairly or competently, either. Because sometimes, as much as I hate the conspiracy theory mentality, I'm not an idiot. I mean, sometimes there is skullduggery that goes on behind the scenes. Of course there is. It's just not as blatant as it was when, Frankie Carbo and his associates ran boxing, back in the 50s. It's not quite that bad. It's not brown envelopes, pushed under newspapers across coffee tables, you've been paid off. It's nothing like that. It's you wine and dine the judges. You almost subconsciously lure them into favouring one guy. That can happen. All right. And Turkey has been. We saw the video where he was, singing the praises of Tyson and saying Tyson's going to get you. Who said, "Go Tyson, we're going to cook the rabbit" and all this sort of thing. And I thought he was doing it in a sort of pantomime way, but a lot of people have said it was very disrespectful to Usyk, and I think that does hold some more to that argument. Definitely. Perhaps he shouldn't have said it, but does it mean that he's the fix is in because he wants Fury to win? Not necessarily. We'll just have to see. And also there's always the debate, well, is it incompetence or is it absolute corruption? Or is it a bit of both, maybe? I don't know. But we'll see. So I can't really sort of dissect and define what's going to happen. I don't know. Neither do you, neither does anyone. A lot of people have said it's all being set up for Fury to win so they can have a rubber match or Fury can go and fight Joshua and so on and so on. Is that possible? Yeah, like any other conspiratorial without evidence statement, it is feasible. But can I deny it completely? No, of course not. But can you say for certain it's going to happen? Of course you can't. And if you're convinced that it's going to happen, you're not being objective. We keep an eye on that sort of thing, definitely, because it does happen. It can happen. The potential is there, but we don't presume anything until we see evidence. Unfortunately, in life, when anything illegal goes on, when anything underhand goes on, you have to prove it. Unfortunately, and that's why people get away with murder. Literally, at times, they get away with murder. That's why people walk every day from courtrooms when laughing at the system because they know they're guilty. But we need evidence. We need evidence for that. So let's assume, just for the sake of argument, let's assume that it's going to be judged fairly. We'll just assume that, because if you're making a prediction, it's too much of a jump to say, I think the fix is in. And, by the way, I did this once before. I thought with Fury and Klitschko, I thought all along Fury is going to win that fight clearly and he's going to get robbed. He didn't get robbed. And it was in Dusseldorf, and it was the Klitschkos, and it was their promotion. And it was a champion who had been around for, almost a decade ruling. He didn't get robbed. So it doesn't necessarily follow that because everything appears to be stacked against one fighter, that it will actually come to pass that they're ripped off. It doesn't. So we will assume that there's going to be an even playing field. The goalposts are not going to be moved accordingly to suit one person. All right. Now let's get to Usyk. What do we think about Usyk? Well, obviously a magnificent fighter, an immensely strong man mentally, an incredibly disciplined man. Okay, has won every single title he's ever won, and my God, there have been quite a few of them on the road, in other people's backyards. Has beaten Joshua twice, which is not an easy thing to do. Just because Dubois smashed Joshua up, don't think it's easy to do. No. All right, don't forget Usyk. He hadn't long been a heavyweight when he fought Joshua, and he clearly beat him twice. Again, the cards were questionable. Was it a majority decision or split decision on one of them? Ridiculous. Usyk won both those fights. Usyk, of course, survived early, not survived, but had to put up with an early onslaught from Derek Chisora, sussed him out in the second half of the fight, dominated him, and then he beat Fury. Okay, so great. He is a great fighter. Cast iron Hall of Famer. Fury will get in the Hall of Fame as well, I think. But for Usyk, without question, a Hall of Famer. Okay, but we'll play devil's advocate now because it's always interesting to do that. You have to sort of weigh everything up if you're making a prediction. Let's say that he beat Fury in the first fight, therefore he is going to assume this is going to be easier than it actually may well be. Now, I know what you're going to say. Usyk would never do that. Usyk's too disciplined. Usyk is too long in the tooth. He's too experienced. He would never, ever slack off. But sometimes, subconsciously, you can do that. You don't even realise you're doing it, but it happens. It happens. And it doesn't mean that Usyk is doing anything wrong in training or in preparation. He's trying to be the best he can. But maybe he hasn't quite got his eye on what Fury might do. Because Usyk he may say, well, I do things my way, and I'm not really that concerned about what the opponent does. A man that meticulous will have watched Fury in the lead up to the first fight, looked at all his fights, studied him with his trainer and everything. This time round, he may even subconsciously think, I've got this guy's number. I've been hit hard by him. I didn't go anywhere. I almost knocked him out. And Usyk, interestingly, has said he thinks he will knock Fury out this time. He may have stopped short of actually sort of hammering home the point, but he's indicated, he assumes he's going to win again. He just says, yeah, I'm going to win again. I'm going to win again. And Whereas previously he's kind of avoided that question or been a little bit cautious of that question. This time round, he's been a little bit more brazen. Don't forget, I know it sounds like a little bit of a pantomime thing, but when he turned up dressed as that hitman thing from that video game, the black suit, the red tie, the gloves, and all the rest of it, the briefcase, that indicates he's on a mission to get rid of Fury, to really beat him up. Is he playing mind games with Fury? Not really like Usyk to do that. I would have thought normally Usyk goes about his business quite quietly, and he relies on humour to maybe lull someone into a false sense of security. I don't know, but he's not the type of person who normally just sort of steams in or makes statements. So it is, again, I don't think it's very likely, but it is possible. It's possible that Usyk could be overlooking something with regard to Fury. He might think, I've got this guy. I nearly had him out of there the first time. I've got him where I want him. And this time round, I'm going to finish the job. I didn't do it in the 9th round. He might think, I need to improve on that first fight. I need to stop him this time round. He may think, maybe Turki Al-Sheikh, wants Fury to win, so maybe I'm going to have to win every round, at least win every round to get a decision. You don't know what goes through a man's head, through a man's mind. Although, if anyone has mental strength, my God, it's Oleksandr Usyk. And Tyson Fury is mentally extremely strong as well. Don't forget that. That's why I would never rule him out of doing something out of the ordinary. Both these guys, this is a great matchup, even though one guy won the previous fight. Straight away you thought, we got to see another one of this. Another one of these is a great fight. I want to see another one. So we've got this situation where you've got Fury. Is he on the downside of his career? Is he never going to be the man he was? Probably a bit over the hill, not in free fall, but a little bit over the summit, the peak. We've got Usyk, brilliant, always brilliant, pretty flawless career so far, but, you just never know what could happen. Still in against a very big man. Maybe he might subconsciously take him a little bit lightly. You don't know. So I suppose the question is, how's the fight going to go? Well, Fury has said, I'm going to come out and do exactly what I did last time. Okay, if he genuinely believes that he won that first fight, which he continually says he did, he does believe that, why wouldn't he do the same thing? The only thing is, he didn't get the decision the first time round. So I would say he's going to be looking, if he does have that tactic, he's going to be looking to fire more punches. He said, I'm going to do less showboating. Well, I don't know why he did it in the first place, but he says, no, I'm going to come out and I'm going to be much busier and I'm going to be, he's going to be there's far more output, far more proactive. Okay. So in other words, he's going to be aggressive, maybe on the back foot though. Usyk, you would think, might employ the similar tactics to the first fight. Come out, be aggressive, go forward, look to punch first, look to punch last, quicken his feet when he needs to. Who is more likely to adapt to the other person's tactics? So if Fury went after Usyk, which a lot of people say he should do, and let it all hang out, is Usyk going to meet him in the middle, or is he going to revert to being a bit more cautious, maybe boxing off the back foot himself? If Usyk decides to try and counterpunch, which I don't think he will, is Fury going to try and sort of throw his idea out the window of box fighting and actually think, okay, I'll do to him what I did do to Steve Cunningham. Not that I'm comparing Steve Cunningham to Usyk. That's possible. Would anything be completely surprising about the styles of the fights or the various permutations that we could have between these two styles? Not really. I think I would be surprised if Usyk did meet Fury in the middle. If Fury came out very aggressively, I would be a little surprised if Usyk sat in the pocket and swapped punches with such a big man. I think he would try to give angles, probably counterpunch, pop him, but I don't think he'd just stand there and have a, an exchange. Let's put it that way. I think Usyk relies on, even whether he's coming forward or whether he's boxing on the back foot, he relies on punching first and also punching last. He does a lot of counter punching, but he can be very, very proactive, very aggressive as well. I think stylistically, we're probably going to see Fury trying to be busier. I don't think he'll chase after Usyk because he knows he can be clipped and hurt. But I think he's definitely, if they get up close, he's going to be mauling Usyk. He's going to be leaning on him, and he's going to be trying to sap some energy. I also think he's going to be a little bit more flat-footed, but still try and box on the back foot. He's going to fire a lot more punches than he did this time round. For Usyk, I think he will expect that sort of fight and will probably counter-punch, try to counter-punch or punch between Fury's punches. Let his hands go, not necessarily in singles, and he won't necessarily load up quite as much as he was doing early on in the first fight. I think he's probably going to let his hands go in bunches more and have more of a chipping away effect at Fury. In the first fight, he was loading up. It was quite surprising to see. And I think if Fury is aggressive, I think Usyk again will not meet him in the middle. He'll be looking to do little semicircles, keep Fury off balance, probably look to kind of draw the sting out of Fury. He does not want to get involved in any kind of wrestling matches because Fury's just too big. That would drain Usyk's energy. Don't forget, Usyk was knackered at the end of the first fight. Even though he clearly won it, he was knackered. All right? So was Fury, but Usyk was... People overlook the fact of how much that took out of Usyk in the first fight. He took a lot out of him. But I think when all is said and done, we're going to see Fury being busier, firing more punches, sitting down his jab more, because his jab was more of a flick in the first fight. I think he'll probably sit down on it more. They know what they say about jabbing with a jabber. I think Usyk is probably going to try and be aggressive, but also, like I say, punch between Fury's attacks. And obviously he'll counter punch whenever he sees the opportunity. How do I see the fight panning out? The only thing that would surprise me if there was an early knockout for either man, and even then I wouldn't rule that out entirely, because it is feasible. You've got two men of that size with those skills. Someone can get clipped early, you just don't know. I see this fight being competitive for the first 4 rounds, 5 rounds. In the middle rounds, I think Usyk will have begun to suss Fury out. I wonder about Fury's ability in this day and age, what with all the constant yo-yoing of the weight, to do 12 3-minute rounds consistently, so fight consistently for 36 minutes. I think at some point Usyk will clip Fury, might put him on the floor again. But if I'm honest, I don't think it will be a stoppage. My prediction is that Oleksandr Usyk will win a comfortable decision over Tyson Fury in the rematch. At 116, 112, certainly 115, 113. Yeah, Usyk to win on points. In a competitive but an entertaining fight. I think it'll be entertaining. It'll need to be because the undercard is not great. But the first Riyadh season card that we've said that about, isn't it? This is not a great undercard. But yes, that's my prediction. Oleksandr Usyk to win a decision in a competitive fight. Quite a bit of to-in and fro-in. Success for both men at various points. But I certainly think in the last 4 rounds, the last third of the fight, certainly in the last 3, I think you will see Usyk pulling away and winning a 116, 112, 115, 113 decision. So that's my prediction. Do you agree? Do you disagree? You just let me know. Tell me what you think. Comments below. Tell me why you think your man will win, whoever you're picking. Yeah, and we'll see. We'll see, won't we? It's not long now. So thank you very much for listening to this. I know it's been a long one. It's about 25, 26 minutes. So thanks for hanging in there with me. If you did enjoy the video, please hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel if you're new, because it's free. It costs you nothing. Takes a second. Bob's your uncle. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm looking forward to reading your comments. Many, many thanks. As always, bye for now.